Hello and welcome to the show your teachers, the PTA, and the asleep don't want you to hear. The heliosblog. Today, Matthew Hussey explains, does your number matter? Let's get into it.
The reason she's alone is because she's difficult.
Women are not accepting the bare minimum.
Women fuck men they respect.
All the women who say things like, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, like, y'all impress me.
Women just gaslight each other and say what they want to hear.
George Clooney didn't start that relationship by saying, how many men have you slept with?
No, he didn't. But,
A good chance you'll get to the end of this clip and think, I wish that was longer. I wish there was more that I could consume right now that could help me in my love life. Well, I have something for you. It's a 1 hour free training that I
oh my lord, can we please skip this crappy ad?
shared. And that message is that men find women who are not virgins gross.
Not quite. There are degrees to this, right? Men have a disgust response to girls that have too high an N count. So if you watched my video from yesterday about Sneeko on Fresh and Fit, then you know, right? That girl literally said she had like 1,000 N count or something. Like, I'll bet most people listening are like, And by most people, I mean most men, because obviously mostly men listen to this channel. Yeah. Men have a disgust response to that. So, but they don't necessarily have to be virgins. They just can't have 30, 50, like some crazy number that shows you're just another, just another bloke, as it were.
I cannot go a few days without it somehow popping up in my feed that men do not want to commit to women with a high body count or any past sexual experiences.
No, that's a straw man argument. The first part is correct. Men do not want to marry a girl with a high body count. But it doesn't necessarily need to be 0. It just can't be and every man has a limit, right? For some guys it's 5, for some guys it's 10, for some guys it's 20. But we can universally agree that 1,000 is ridiculous, or 200, or 100. Like, hearing that, you would think, not only am I not special, but the chances of the girl being an alpha widow is huge. And then what? You're meant to compete with 500 previous guys? It's nuts. And then, girls will come out of the woodwork and say, oh, you're insecure. It's like, no, you made bad decisions. The consequence is, now you can't get married.
It's all sometimes. I feel like you've been spending too much time on Reddit. Get off of Reddit. I do not have a high body count, but I still get triggered every time this pops up.
So what? You're a master virtue signaler? Do something else with your time.
Truly believe that this is very important to men, and that if they were to find out about a woman's sexual past, they would now start to subconsciously value her less and not see her as a wife/future mum of their babies.
Right, depending on how high the number is. That's true. But it doesn't necessarily have to be 0.
If they have the option, leave her. Can you please talk about this in detail? I got the gist.
Is Matthew going to say your past doesn't matter because it's utterly ridiculous? But let's see him say it, because Matthew Hussey's, his demographic, the people that he appeals to, the girls are usually 30 plus with bad decisions who can't find a man. So he's going to have to pander to them, right? That would be my assumption.
So it goes on for a bit longer, but it's pretty much the same thing. And by the way, she says, P.S. I know that a popular comeback is that men who care about this are insecure, but I think it's deeper than that.
Yeah, it's not that.
George Clooney How old was George Clooney when he met his wife? I don't know anything about this relationship, by the way, so don't think this is going to turn into some sort of interesting commentary on a celebrity relationship. But I know he was an older man. He was, what, his 50s?
His hair was silver.
60s? I don't know. I don't even know how old George Clooney is. I know he didn't meet her in his 30s or 20s, and I also know that she is not in her 20s, right? So I imagine that George...
But I'll bet her end count isn't 100.
Clooney didn't start that relationship by saying, how many men have you slept with? Because...
Right, but at a certain point... But I'm sure on the first date there were tells, right? The girl would have to be either incredibly intelligent to avoid giving off any of these, garden tool tells, or she would have to not be a garden tool for a guy like George to take her seriously. But maybe it isn't 0, but it doesn't matter, right? Like if it's, let's say 5, okay, whatever, But if it was, I'm out here living my best life and I'm going to go on a girls' night out after our first date and tee-hee-hee, I did so much fun stuff in Cancun and all that. Obviously, George wouldn't take her seriously, right? So.
Had he started the conversation that way, it would have been an obvious answer. Plenty. I'm an adult woman who's been around for a while. I'm not...
Ah, there it is. It's perfectly normal for me to do whatever I want and actions don't have consequences and you should accept me how I am. No, actions have consequences. You can't just do whatever you want and get the result you want. That's how life works. So no, Matthew, you're a liar. And spreading this message to girls is actually hurting them, not helping them. Don't tell them this stuff because they'll actually believe it.
Someone, you didn't meet a 21-year-old or you didn't meet an 18-year-old. You met someone who's actually been around for a minute and has had other relations.
Okay, but if let's say she's 28, 32 years old. Okay, one guy per year from 21 to 32 is an end count of 11. Some guys would be okay with this. But if it's, I lived my hot girl summer and I slept with 35 guys each summer from the age of 21 to 32, and I haven't been in a relationship since I was 21 because I've been friends with benefits with, 3 different guys to 5 different guys at a time for 10 years, like, you better believe that that's not okay, right? Even 1 or 2 hot girl summers where the girl slept with 10, 15 guys each time makes her not. Do you see what I'm saying? So I fail to see what Matthew are you trying to tell girls with what you're saying here?
Relationships, George. At a certain point, I feel like men have to give up. There's a time in.
Does that mean that Matthew's wife slept around and he's justifying it? Like he's or is she not and he's a hypocrite? I don't know.
Lives where men have to give up on that game, and
he got with Camila Cabello, who was like 18 to 21. I don't remember what her age was. Okay, anyway.
Unless you want to date 21-year-olds for the rest of your life, at a certain point you have to say, the person I'm with has existed for some time before they met me, and unless they have been living under a rock and not wanting to meet anyone, not having any sexual experiences, they're going to have had some sexual
Yeah, that's not a problem. That, Matthew, is not a problem. But there's a difference between some and a crap ton. And you're not making the distinction here. Girls will hear this and say, oh, whatever, I can do whatever I want. And then they're going to wonder, why doesn't Steve the banker want to date me? And they won't understand why. That's why. Guys get rejected loudly. Girls get rejected silently. So the reason why those guys are interested in you is because maybe you've made some bad decisions. Okay. But, some bedroom fun experience is not going to reflect negatively on most men. But a lot will reflect negatively on most men.
Experiences. So, and do you know what's really interesting? I want you to notice something. What was their name? Tammy? Was it Tammy? Tanny. The insecurity you have about this comes from the complete other direction too. There will be women in the Love Life Club who say to me that they are a virgin at 35 and they're...
Disaster. I waited way too long. If you're 21 and you have an end count of 0, 25, whatever, better believe you're pretty eligible. That's when you should marry Steve the banker. Not at 35. Oh, Steve wasn't jacked enough for me. I'm saving myself for a literal Adonis. Yeah, okay. You're never going to find Adonis. Because Adonis doesn't exist. Even in the movies, those guys are literally not drinking water, airbrushed, photoshopped, and in the perfect light. And then they look like that. They don't even look like that. So you can't expect that. Plus money, plus a certain age, plus... Like, it's ridiculous.
Terrified of what a guy is going to think of them because they are a virgin. Whatever it is, you can find a reason, you can find a story and a group of people that can help you create that story around why you should feel insecure about it. That woman...
That actually is true.
That says, I'm still a virgin and I'm worried every guy's going to think I'm a freak. Based on your narrative, she has the dream scenario. She's never...
No, she doesn't, because she's too old.
Slept with anyone, so she should be the most desirable person.
She should be, and she would be, if she wasn't 35.
In the game right now, because she hasn't done that.
Nope. Fertility is important, not just partner selection or lack of selection.
And maybe if she's hanging around 25-year-old strange kind of warped people on Reddit, she is going to have a market there because they're going to be like, oh, she's so attractive. She's never been with anyone.
What is this theoretical conversation that's not based in reality? This is actually insane, Matthew. You're just helping these girls that are watching your channel to rationalize while they're making bad decisions, sleeping around. Terrible.
The world isn't one dating market. This is the thing we have to get out of our heads. The world isn't one dating market. It is thousands of niche, boutique trading areas.
False. With the advent of social media and online dating, it's not. Local markets have become global markets. So no, it used to be like how you're describing, this so-called boutique dating, this so-called area dating where you could be situationally alpha or whatever. But that isn't the case anymore. Except in very specific circles. Matthew, you're out of touch.
Between people who value different things. Imagine what is it in Turkey? The Grand Bazaar? Imagine the Grand Bazaar, and just everywhere there's a labyrinth of different areas trading different things based on what people want. What you put a premium on is different from what this person over here puts a premium on.
Not exactly. That doesn't account for base human nature, right? So men in general, worldwide, there's a reason why they have a preference for a certain age, right? So men at all age ranges prefer girls that are 21. Why is that? Men across all age ranges prefer girls that don't have a high end count. Why is that? Is it because all the local markets are demanding this? No, it's because there is a base biological nature, right? So that's bullshit.
And vice versa, which means that different people are valuable to different people.
Sure, okay, that actually is true, but again, it's misleading. Like, while it is true that, different people are differently valuable, you can't be telling me that an obese girl is going to be more attractive to a guy than a fit girl, or a 35-year-old is going to be more attractive than a 21-year-old if the guy had the choice between the two, which usually they don't, right? The guys that say that they're attracted to older women, they usually can't get the 21-year-old, and so they say they're more attracted to the older girl, right? Anyway, let's continue.
There is no one dating market. You're treating it like there's one dating market because you
There is one dating market.
spent too much time on the internet in
Bullshit.
one particular area of the algorithm. And now the algorithm is serving you every title it can find on why women become unattractive the moment they've slept with more than one person.
Yeah, that's actually true. That is actually true. That's why you need to be a critical thinker, right? Okay.
And that's coloring your narrative. So the first thing you can do, by the way, is stop searching for those things and start searching for positive material so that the algorithm online starts feeding you positive material.
Right, exactly.
Or search in an incognito window so that the algorithm is no longer serving you up the stuff that is your biggest fear, which it will gladly oblige in doing for as long as you let it.
That actually is true.
Stop spending time around people who feed that narrative or men who feed that narrative. And in case you feel I am copping out on your question that, you want me to avoid saying that men who care about this are insecure, there are obviously going to be some men who care about that. They're not men that I hang around.
Okay, come on. Now it's virtue signaling garbage. Come on, Matthew. Like, so clearly a hypocrite, it's kind of insane. Are you kidding me? Look at who Matthew married and tell me. Did he just choose any old girl? Of course not. He literally chose based on male nature. Young, attractive girl who's, semi-conservative, soft-spoken, clearly doesn't have a high end count, isn't an extrovert. Like, come on. And yet he's preaching this to his audience, right? Hypocrite.
None of the men that I hang around get into a relationship and start by saying, how many people have you been with?
That's not how you start, because nobody who's socially calibrated starts like that, Matthew. You don't ask that question. There are obvious tells of girls that are garden tools, and you avoid girls with those tells. And don't tell me you don't do it. You'd be a liar then. Or an idiot.
Within the past. It's not a question that they're asking because what they're trying to find is someone who's the kind of person they want to be in a relationship.
So you want to be, you would be okay with being with a lady of the night, a girl like like Hassan dated, like that Janice girl. Yeah, you'd be okay with that? Of course not, because there's a problem with that, and you have an opportunity not to choose girls like that who you never have. Even Camilla, who's an ultimate attention seeker, she was young, so obviously she didn't have a high end count. You got her before that point, right? So don't go lying to your audience about, I don't hang around those people. You are those people. You just don't start the conversation by saying it because nobody does that who's good with girls.
And by the way, a lot of guys are smart enough not to even ask the question.
You see?
They don't want to know the answer.
No, they do want to know the answer. They just know how to figure out the answer without asking the question. Lordy Lord.
If it makes them feel weird because they don't want to talk about sexual...
No, you're going to avoid, you need to know, because if you don't know, then you could screw over your whole future. But you're not going to ruin the beginning of a relationship by asking the question. So you're going to figure it out along the way, right? Come on, Matthew. You can't, I just hate the sort of person that would lie like this. Lying for money. Just like Hassan.
History. And by the way, that's probably, in a lot of cases, better that we don't spend time doing this excavation on each other's sexual past. What's the purpose of it?
You know what the purpose is, or if you don't, you're an idiot. Biological reality is the purpose of it. If she has a high N count, then she's not a good bet for paternity. She's not a good bet for paternity. She's not a wife. Men have an evolved biological proclivity to avoid girls like this for long-term relationships. For short-term relationships, it's fine, right? Because men are, they're trying to, biologically speaking, they're all selected, right? They're trying to spread their seed. So, ridiculous, Matthew. Ridiculous. Says he understands dating. Says he understands, how, like, relationships. But actual reality is lies to girls who are 30 plus who've made bad decisions in order to get money.
If that's your thing, or you particularly don't mind, then you can do that. But for everyone else, there's no need to do that because it's just not relevant to where you're going. Everyone has a past. Everyone has had experiences that they enjoyed, experiences that they didn't enjoy.
Right. And a limited number of past experiences is okay. Insanely huge number of past experiences that have been negative and that have hurt the girl and destroyed her are not. And you need to determine which she has had for your own long-term benefit. Matthew.
Things that they probably wouldn't do again if they had the chance. Regrets for someone they went home with that night. Everyone has these experiences, and any guy, whether it comes from insecurity or biology or anywhere else, any guy who makes a big deal out of that is an utter hypocrite. So,
yes, it's the guy's fault. There it is. Anyone that makes a big deal out of this is a hypocrite because they have a past too. Well, what if I told you that men and women are different? Ridiculous. Nonsense. So Matthew has done every single thing that girls do in arguments, right? Deflect personal responsibility, push, accountability away, blame it on guys, you're insecure, you're a loser for caring about this stuff. Everyone has a past. I don't hang around people like that and stuff like that. Has Matthew ever been a man? He literally acts like a woman. Anyway, okay, let's continue. I'm done.
So the idea that you would run your life around that group of people, which is not everyone, wherever it comes from, even if it comes from some anthropological caveman instinct that I don't want anyone to be with to have been with the person that I'm with, and that comes from an evolutionary perspective. Plenty of things come from an evolutionary perspective, but we don't go around doing them. We live in a civilized society.
Right, and in a civilized society, you should be okay with your girl having 1,000 guys before you. Like, slippery slope, Matthew. 10 may be okay. 1,000 maybe not. Encouraging girls to just, guys are insecure if they ask about it. And then, which basically encourages the girl to sleep around as much as she wants before, approaching a serious relationship. Probably not a good idea, Matthew. A lot of people watch your channel.
So even your mind going to, but this is just men based on an evolutionary perspective. There are plenty of things we can say from an evolutionary perspective that we no longer follow. So don't allow that.
It's not true. Like, what? You think tribalism went away? It has never gone away. All the base biological instincts are still there. You think violence went away? That never went away. You think dominance went away? That never went away. Hierarchy? That never went away. Nothing of these, all the base instincts are still there. they might be couched in a more civilized quote-unquote lens, but they haven't disappeared. Just false, flawed, awful logic aimed at, couching women's insecurities with the purpose of making money off them. But really what it is just, let's call it like it is, a lie. You're saying a lie for the purpose of making money. You know it's not true, but you don't care, and you made that decision a long time ago. Liar.
Wherever the argument comes from, that narrative should not be running your life. Find men who have evolved. Find men
yes, right. Men that care about end count are unevolved. Guys, need I say more?
Grown up a little. And
they're babies. They're not grown up. You see, every possible ad hominem. See, guys, don't fall for this BS.
it might be, I don't know how old you are, but it might be that you're just not in the age bracket right now where a lot of those men have done that growing up. Because at a certain point, any person who doesn't want to constantly, any man, frankly, who doesn't want to constantly torture themselves about their partner's sexual past has to
choose a girl that's not a garden tool. Right. To prevent that problem entirely. Right. Okay. Let's end the video there. My lord. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit all the notifications. Drop me a donation like Hunter M, Adrian Otto, and Bobby, and Dylan. Shoutouts to you. Most recent purchaser of Strategist Guide to Seduction and Quotes to Live By. My books can be found at bit.ly/heliosbooks. My Patreon is patreon.com/theheliosblog. If you're interested in coaching, message me at theheliosblog@gmail.com. I'll slot you right in. And of course, guys, thank you so much for listening, especially if you listen to the end. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.